and its music. Hey, everybody, and it's Tuesday. We're going to still AEW thing, but it's Tuesday. You know what that means? It's the NXT review show right here on Unpopular Review. We're going to be talking about everything that happened tonight from the Dusty semifinals, Briggs getting an opportunity out here, and much, much more. We'll catch you guys after the intro. Once we find the intro. Oh, here's the intro. We did an introduction, so you already know who your hosts are for Tuesday. It is I, the great Grand Slam Poobah, aka Badguy Jack, and I'm joined with, as always on Tuesday, the incredible Wrestling Doll. Wrestling Doll, why don't you tell the people that is watching us, how are you?
I'm fine. Work was fine. Can't complain. Just chilled for most of the weekend, except going to that TNA taping on Friday. So I got to see Trinity's last official match over there, which they actually turned it, which some people that may watch TNA are going to find out soon in the future what kind of match it was, because I'm not going to be handing out no spoilers.
Wow. Her last, what sounds like, you know, a lot of, this is the NXT show, but we could talk a little bit of TNA. We want to bring TNA here to Unpopular Review and start reviewing it. And I just got to ask, without spoiling anything, how did you enjoy the TNA show?
Oh, I had a fun time. I took lots of pictures. I had so much fun getting to see Nick Nemeth wrestle one half of the Rascals, Trinity, Jordan Grace, Giselle Shaw. Getting to see some former WWE stars in there was really fun. Seeing some people that I hadn't been familiar with as far as their work, but seeing them on social media was really fun. And then getting familiar with some newer faces and seeing some old faces that I missed from NXT, such as Kushida.
They signed him. I know that he was a big signing that they got when they were once they were making the transition to be going back to TNA. They wanted to make sure they locked in some names. And I think that's a great signing to having Kushida. Kushida, who was in NXT, former NXT Cruiserweight champion.
Before they got rid of the title. And then after that happened, it's like they made him more into a joke and went downhill. Just because somebody,
you know how I felt about Jack.
Automatically, you got to turn him into a joke. Kushida and Ikemen, the Iconics. How many other times are you going to do this to some of these foreign stars? You don't do it to Rhea Ripley.
We got George in the chat. He says, "What's up, everybody? Always in the chat. First place, George. NXT was pretty solid. It was a fun show, honestly. To quote one of our castmates, NXT was delightful. Congratulations to Ava becoming the youngest NXT GM. I didn't expect that. But you know what? Honestly, I feel like while I hear what you're saying, we should have seen it coming because she was always backstage and doing a lot of the stuff for Shawn Michaels. We haven't seen Shawn Michaels in I don't know how long on TV, and he's always been out there. She's always been out there.
Shawn Michaels on TV was the last NXT pay-per-view, talking to CM Punk when he came in, alluding that he was going to sign on to the
that is true. Brand. I don't know why I feel like that was so long ago. It wasn't that long ago. No. I called it that Lola Vice and Elektra Lopez was going to split up, and now they have a match next week, and that's true.
I called them splitting when Lola looked annoyed as hell standing with Elektra. She was catching up with her old faction mates.
But what Elektra Lopez said, something that Lyra Vice said, is that Lola got there by shaking her ass and not lying about that. That seemed to be the go-to thing to say about her, is that she's been shaking the bouquet.
Only two people have said that to her face.
And to her face, too. I'm surprised that they haven't been laid out because she's a legit MMA fighter. I've seen her Instagram. Elektra also said that she was a fake MMA fighter. Yeah, she did say that.
That she was shadow fighting in a bikini.
This
That's
is
what
true.
she said.
We got Wren had a great showing tonight, and Fallen coming out to help her, which is going to possibly, I guess what he's trying to say, possibly form a women's tag team. Oh, have a women's tag team match. I thought he meant making them as a tag team. Yeah, I can see that. They didn't announce that.
In the future.
Mhm.
It could happen in the future. Wren
Rock-
Sinclair, formerly known as Maddie Renkowski, has been tag champion in multiple different companies, notably in NWA for a hot minute, which was arguably one of my favorite tag teams in that company when they were still tag champs. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did go that route with her, but we'll see.
We got good Chris in the chat says Roxanne Perez heel turn coming. I don't think it's a heel turn personally, but we'll talk about that. But we want to get into some of these chats before we started to break down NXT. George says, mentioning good Chris, I can see her win and become the second woman to be a two-time NXT Women's Champion since Shayna Baszler did it. I have some thoughts actually when it comes down to when we're talking about that women. What's going on, Charmaine? Talking about the Women's Championship. We got Warman in the chat. Said, "Oh my God, that's right, man." He said, "In Europe." I think that's how you say it. Europe.
Yes.
I'm my pronunciation getting better. Let's talk about NXT. It opened up with a really good match. I thought this was a great way to open up. It opened up. This is the Dusty Classic semifinals. You have Baron Corbin, Bron Breakker going against the team of Axiom and Nathan Frazer. And
wait. It's the Wolf Dogs.
I'm glad that you corrected me. It is the Wolf Dog. It was funny seeing Baron come out there with the dog on his head or something like that. It was like a wolf. I don't know what was going on there. I thought it was the coyote from the Roadrunner cartoon. Because I'm pretty sure the coyote's been dead for years. Wow, E Coyote. Shout out to him. This match it started off pretty good, right? So Axiom and Nathan, they used this speed off rip. The bell hasn't even rung yet, but they just kept attacking Bron and Baron. And it took a while for Bron and Baron to eventually catch these guys and start laying them down, use their power and strength. I want to make sure, because I took some really good notes here. I'm proud of myself. They eventually Bron and Baron, they lay them down. They use their power, like I mentioned. Nathan and Axiom is still trying to use their speed. There was this one good spot here where Bron goes for a backdrop, but he flips over. I forget if it's Axiom or Nathan, but he flips him over and hits the cutter.
With the mask, it's Axiom. If it's with no mask, it's Nathan.
I know who these people are. I just don't remember who it was. I know who Axiom is. I've done my homework, Mrs. Doll.
If you remember the spot of what happened, then that could help.
Let me see if I have this correct. It was, I put it as Nathan. Oh no, it was Axiom, but Nathan gets in. He gets the hot tag. He starts using his speed. I do got to say, there's this one spot in the match. I thought it was so good. I like when Baron does the deep six, and sometimes he gets a really good rotation depending on how much the person ran into him. And he hit this move on Axiom. Fantastic stuff. There was a spot where the babyfaces had a double submission, but Bron broke it up. Powerbomb Axiom on Nathan. And there was also this one spot in the match where the babyfaces did some aerial attacks. Baron was able to break it up, and I like how urgent these, every pinfall, it came off like you had to break it up because then you're being sent home. So I thought this was really great stuff. And Bron gets the win. He spears Nathan out of his boots. Nathan never saw it. Nathan was standing up, and when he turned around, Baron was on the ground. Bron comes and spears him, knocks him out. 1, 2, 3, gets the win. Fantastic! This was just so good. I have so much notes for this match, but I wanted to try to make it as digestible as possible. I do sit here and say you should watch back this match if you did miss the opener. This was great stuff. I honestly hope that even after, somehow they could keep Baron and Bron together, because they are just an interesting duo together. There's something, I guess it's just funny because these guys bicker with each other, but then when they're on the same page, they're the team. They're such a dominant team. Russell and Doll, what did you think about this tag team opener?
that the match was going to go exactly the way that we thought it would. Axiom and Nathan were going to try to beat the crap out of them early on to ensure that they would not be they wouldn't have as much energy. They'd be hurt. They'd be tired. But it didn't work enough because they were able to eventually get the victory over the two, which when you saw that who was going to be in the semifinals, that it ended exactly the same way that we all thought it would. But match was good. Definitely one that deserves a rewatch. And watching those two work together in a team, even though they can't stand each other for the life of them, is like watching a teen movie with two polar opposite kids having to work together on like a project or something, or like stuck doing community service or detention, and having to deal with each other and work together and eventually realize they have some things in common and eventually become okay with each other and or become friends. But I don't think these two will become friends. I think they will just be,
I can see that,
not killing each other at the end of it.
I can see that after this is all said and done, they're like, no, you cost us the team. No, you cost us the team. And then they just like, they have this fallout because they can't agree on who's the reason why this team fell apart. So I hear what you're saying. I just think that this act, it really struck gold with me. So I would love to see more of it. Matter of fact, too, I think it's important to mention how the crowd was actually cheering for Baron Corbin. I don't remember a time that I heard the crowd ever cheer for Baron Corbin. And Bron, too, who, when he was the NXT champion, that crowd was just over him. Like, they didn't want to.
They were for him the first time he became champion, but by the time the second title reign came along and it was predictable, then everybody got bored. I didn't boo him, but I did get bored.
No, same here. And I've said for the longest that this heel turn was the best thing that happened to Bron and him and Baron Corbin. That segment last week really won me over when he was like, I took a shower. I was thinking about us. And Baron's face like,
what? You are what?
You was thinking of me in the shower. So great stuff.
It's like that segment with Triple H and Eve Torres where he's complimenting and she has on a pearl necklace, but this area was also out. And so the way he's talking, you would think, oh, he's talking about those, but he was really talking about the necklace. It was like that.
We got George in the chat. George, thanks for being here. Give yourself 15 points, my guy. You're the point guard, the guy. I can see the both of them fall apart. The Wolf Dogs. It's a hell of a name. I honestly want to see the merch for that when they eventually do that. JL is not here, and I know that he's hyped because Bron Breakker was on television. Someone,
they'll probably say that, Baron Corbin was stealing his spotlight, or Baron should have let Bron have more action in the ring. Should have never let Baron Corbin get in the ring in the first place, etc., etc. We don't need that.
Good. Chris wanted to mention to us that the Royal Rumble is Saturday, which it is. We should be there. The UPR crew will be there. I'm praying to God that Hulk Hogan and his dusty tan is not trying to get in that Royal Rumble, because I think I will flip.
Listen, the only one you should worry about possibly getting in a wrestling ring again as far as older wrestlers is Ric Flair, because he constantly says he'll retire and he never does. How many retirement matches has this man had? Like 20?
I hope for neither one of them to get in the ring in the year 2024. It is not 1985 anymore. You had your time.
It's not 1992 anymore.
It's not 2000 anymore either. My point is, no. Just no. Let's talk about Briggs here. Briggs, he confronts Dragunov, and he wants to make a challenge. And Dragunov's like, are you sure you want to do that, man? I don't know if you want to do that. And Briggs point out that JBL endorsed him and said that you should go for what you want. Trick stops all this and be like, yo, my dog, like, you're not going to attack Dragunov because I have a championship match with him at NXT Vengeance Day. And Briggs is like, yo, don't tell me what to do. Get out of here. Like, and Trick gets in his face. It says, oh, we can handle this later in the night, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Yeah. We have Wren Sinclair. I made sure to because the W throws me off, but I made sure to put Wren so I knew I said this name right. So I am proud of myself. George, 6 points for me. Wren, she's nervous about her. This is her first singles match.
It's her debut match.
Right. Well, singles because her debut was the Battle Royal, correct?
Well, you know what I mean. Debut match, period. Like,
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we were on the same
somewhat
page, though.
showing the world what she can do if the world hadn't, if some of those people in the audience hadn't seen her in AEW and NWA and
Right.
any other indie company that she's wrestled at.
This was my first exposure of her because I've heard of the name, but I've never seen any of her work. Matter of fact, shout out to you. You shared some stuff, and I thought it was actually really cute. She was interviewing like EC3. I think one was Chris Masters. Yeah, and I thought that was fantastic, actually. So I thought that was really cool. She seemed like such a sweetheart, actually. When I was just seeing this, just by herself, I could see them trying to place her as a I don't want to say the top babyface because I think that's taken at the moment, but they tried to place her in that,
In
you know,
that
that you're gonna
category.
cheer for her. You're gonna, you know, make it easy for you to cheer for her because she's such a sweetheart. Like I can't even image myself booing
Listen,
her.
as far as work that she's done, she's predominantly been a heel in her indie
Oh,
run. So
oh,
this
really?
will be
Okay.
interesting to see her be a babyface. And I
Okay.
guess
Well,
maybe they did that transition in WA with the opponents that they had, but for the most part, she's always been heel from what I've seen.
all right. Well, thank you. That was an education for me. But she's never about her debut match. Fawn Henley says, like, calm down. You got this. I mean, you eliminated Lash last week, so just show her that that wasn't
A fluke.
but it was a fluke because Lash Legend beat this girl. Lash Legend, I
To
just
put it
want.
mildly.
I mean, this match was what it needed to be. I mean, Lash Legend should have got the win here. Did she get it because of you know, she has a girl, not her girls. I'm sorry. This is not. She's not out there with Destiny's Child, but you know, she's out there with the Metaphor, and you know, they were causing some distractions out there. Lash was able to showcase her power. She beats this girl with a choke bomb, and I gotta say, I feel like Lash. Do you feel like Lash has been getting better? Like, have been having better showings?
Well, considering the fact that for a good portion of that time she wasn't wrestling too much and has probably been doing some training and not getting injured from the training, probably.
Yeah, I thought it was fine, and I thought from the stuff that I saw with Wren, I mean, I would like to see a little bit more because I feel like it was predominantly Lash showcasing what she could do, and Wren was showing that she has heart and can stand with the best of them. But I would like to see a little bit more. I didn't see as much, so I couldn't really give a rating here. But I thought for her just selling and what was it? Her selling and being able to sure she knows her way around the ring. I thought she did all right, but I would like to see more. After the match, it looked like Lash Legend and the Metaphor were going to jump her, but Fallon Henley comes out, makes the save. The guys had to get out the ring because they wasn't going to put hands on women, and that's going to be a match for next week. Do you have any thoughts about this before we go on to the next segment, and then we get into some of these comments?
Well, I know that some people in our chat will be very happy that Jakara Jackson will finally be in action for the first time since injuring her arm.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, the person that will be very happy about that is not here putting her picture up on in this.
Every 5 seconds, right?
Yes.
We got, hold on, let me just go up. We got Good Chris in the chat. He says, Go Bailey and CM Punk. Those look like those are going to be the winners of the Royal Rumble, so I concur. Chris is teasing Becky and Rhea.
I mean, we hadn't had that since 2019, so.
They do, and there's still a way to get there without her winning the Royal Rumble. I don't think she needs to win the Royal Rumble, honestly.
No, she doesn't need to. She already won in 2019. She doesn't need it again.
Well, you could say that, but there's been so many people where, like, Randy Orton won it twice. There's been people who've won it twice. I just don't think right now.
I mean, they can, but Becky don't need it.
Yes, and I agree. She don't.
Bailey's, listen,
I think the story.
I was having this discussion with somebody.
Sure.
That
George.
I go to shows occasionally here in my town every second Friday of the month and record those shows. And a bartender that works at the place, who also is doing some wrestling over there, we were chatting for a bit, and we were mentioning, like, who we think is going to win the Royal Rumble. And we were talking. I said Bailey. He agreed with me, and I said Bailey deserves it. He said that she's been putting people over, which she has, and she is the only one of the 4 horsewomen do not main event WrestleMania. So, to win the Royal Rumble. I mean, Sasha doesn't either, but Sasha's gone. So,
well, Sasha did.
But come on, give something to Bailey. She's been working so hard from bringing it back Dakota Kai and Io Shirai, and then basically adding Asuka into Damage Control, and then Kyrie being okay enough to work with Bailey.
No, I concur with that. Give
Bailey
Bailey her
needs her
flowers.
flowers in the form of a WrestleMania match, and for it to actually be the main event of the night.
I
Rhea
would be
won last year, but was her match main event?
no.
No.
Well, you
It
know,
was
for that
Bailey.
one, and I remember talking about during Pop at the time. I remember saying some over the lines of like the storyline wise, you know, the stuff with the bloodline, that was just the story that should end WrestleMania. You're talking about this tag match, and we'll get back into NXT, but you're talking about the Usos who's held this championship for what 600 and something days, and then you have the story of Sammy and Kevin Owens. They're friends again, and they win this match because of the power of friendship. I just thought that was the story that should have ended WrestleMania. Although I do have to say that Rhea and Charlotte match was really good. Matter of fact, the German that Rhea does to Charlotte, I use that as a metaphor for me when I say, "How's life doing?" And if it's not going my way, nope, I landed right on my face. Let's get into these quick segments real quick, and then we'll go into a quick commercial, guys. We had Out the Mud. I thought this was hilarious. They went to the restaurant that Tony D and Stacks be eating at, and they just attacked these people. I loved all of it. I honestly loved this. This was great. Out the Mud is winning me over every chance they get. I wasn't feeling these guys at first. I admit that. But when you tell me they're going to a restaurant and jumping people, I want to take these guys to Olive Garden with me. Because, you know, I want free breadsticks. Matter of fact, no, Red Lobster, because they're crispy biscuits.
Listen,
I eat like
sounds so good you can buy it at the store and make it at home.
They do have that, right? With
yes, and I've done that before, and nobody else in the house ate it, so I got to eat them all myself.
Did they taste like the actual biscuits from the restaurant, though? Like, did they match?
I haven't been to the restaurant, so I wouldn't know in comparison.
Oh,
so I've only
from
ever
Red
had
Lobster?
it from the pump.
What? You gotta go to Red Lobster. It's a great place. You get to see the lobsters before they cook them, which some people might say that's pretty dark. I know it's pretty dark, but I'll still take them to Red Lobster with me just because them biscuits, man. But yeah, they attack these people. Tony D and the family there. I don't know where they are. They're in an Uber and they're making their way back saying, you guys better watch your back. And that plays into later in the night. This one, because this wasn't even really a match, but we had Dijak and Joe Gacy. Dijak comes out. Joe Gacy immediately attacks him. And something that's really annoying. I know they have to censor words, so if the crowd says holy shit and all that stuff, they got to censor it. But it's just so annoying because it's like there's this long period of time where it just literally you don't hear nothing for like a whole minute. So actually pretty annoying to me. But this match
like
isn't
when they put international songs and they bleep out certain words because it sounds like they're saying words that you can't say over here.
Oh.
But it doesn't help. It actually makes it seem like they're saying those words. Because that's happened before.
Well, when they censor these songs?
When they censor the songs on the radio, if they get popular to play over here,
right,
they'll censor certain words if it sounds like words over here that we can't say. Like there was a song that got censored because they have a word that sounds like the N word, so they bleeped it out. But instead, the people thought that they were actually saying the N word, even though they weren't.
Holy hell! No, I didn't know any of this. But what did you think about this Dijak Joe Gacy?
We're getting more Renee Paquette here, and she's interviewing Deanna.
That right away.
Well, I think eventually Joe Gacy is going to completely go bananas, just like Nikki Cross did in Insanity, and completely tried to kill him at some point. Well, that's what he's turning into, basically.
Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy always been a wild card.
I would gladly use that instead, but that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Joe Gacy's always been a wild card. But it's gonna be interesting to see where this goes. So yeah, and they're gonna pick up with this. I don't think they're gonna add this to. So far for Vengeance Day, they only have. Let me see if I got this right. 1, 2, 3, 4. So far 4 matches. Maybe they add this. And it's crazy to think because Vengeance Day is next Sunday. Amazing how all this time comes by so fast. But with that said, before we get into the next part of NXT, we're going to play a commercial real quick, guys. You're watching Unpopular Review. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all these lovely little app thingies there. So if you're on YouTube, please give us a like, subscribe. There's a notification thing right there, so you can catch not just us. I mean, we appreciate you guys wanting to see the NXT crew, or what we now called Wrestling Doll with the what?
The NXT Tuesday crew.
Boom! But there's also the AEW squad. You got the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown thing. We're gonna play a commercial. We're gonna talk more NXT. So we'll be back.
We're getting more Renee Paquette here, and she's interviewing Deonna Purrazzo in the ring, and Deanna's basically just saying, I want the smoke. I'm coming for you, Tony. I want the belt. I'm going to get that belt. And I think she's going to get the belt.
No, she's not getting the belt.
No way. Deonna Purrazzo is not losing.
Yes, she's absolutely losing. She is losing.
You're going to tell me right now that they just got one of their biggest signings in Deonna Purrazzo, and they're going to thrust her into the women's title picture, which I think is way too soon. But you're going to put her in there, and you're just going to have her lose?
Yeah. I'm not going to agree with, and I'm not going to say that. Evil Doses, I'm not going to say that. Let me tell you why I'm not going to say that. Because Deonna Purrazzo was not one of their biggest signings. That's bullshit. If you think that, I don't know what to tell you. AEW signed way too many wrestlers to say Deonna Purrazzo, she's not cracking top 10. She's not. Sorry. She's not. Sorry. Go ahead.
As far as their women's division goes,
she
is. You could argue she's their best talent.
You could argue that. You'd be wrong. You know what? They have the TPS title for boring wrestlers like her.
Not really, because Jade Cargill was the quintessential TBS champion, right? And then they gave it to Chris Statlander. Anyway,
100%. But Julia Hart is elevating the title now.
Is she?
I think so.
Is she?
Listen, you got to make do with what you got.
Is she?
Hart is becoming a star.
Who? What star? Is she wishing upon a star? Is she Pinocchio? She ain't elevating no damn title.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got them.
This the executive consultant is an asshole to every woman in AEW whose name is not Jade Cargill, which sadly means he's going to be an asshole to every single woman in that company because Jade Cargill is now in the WWE.
You know, it's so funny watching that commercial because what I'm laughing at here is Dan looks so stressed. He looks so stressed.
Listen, I was stressing with him. Deonna Purrazzo is one of their biggest signings that they got this year. Are you kidding?
I can't tell you if it's the biggest signing, but if I have a roster,
she's the biggest. I'm just saying one of. Even though,
but I'm saying if I have a roster, I would want Deonna Purrazzo on there. I'm a fan of her in ring stuff. I didn't get a chance to watch a whole lot of her Impact stuff, but it was cool to see her go to Impact. They utilized and realized the star that she is. And she held that division down for, 3 years, maybe? I want to say 3 to 4 years. And she did a fantastic job.
Impact Women's Champion to being Impact Women's Knockouts Tag Team Champions with Chelsea Green.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and don't forget, she was also the Ring of Honor Women's Champion as well. Not sure how long that ran. But, I mean, my point is, she's a great talent. I don't know what to tell the other individuals on that show, but I do say watch the AEW Dynamite review show. They talk.
You want to watch Dan the Man get pissed off at the executive consultant for everything he says about AEW?
Yeah, the show. It's required taste, guys. But we do plug all the other shows here on Unpopular Review. Let's talk about this match real quick, Wrestling Dog. I mean, this match just didn't do it for me. It really didn't. It was an easy win for Lexis King. He beat Bearhill. I didn't even really, I watched the match and I said, you're still cooking with Lexis King. You're gonna give him the win. I see that they're really invested.
Well, they are cooking with him. He's cooking in a crock pot right now. He's been cooked on the lowest setting on a crock pot, and you know how long some of that stuff takes in there to cook? Hours.
Okay.
Except for hours, it's months. Because he's going to be cooking in there for a hot minute.
That sounds so not good, though. Like, if someone's cooking.
That's my point.
That's not good, dog.
You're trying to build him up, but it's not working for some people.
Lexis King, he's not
like him. He's getting a little better in the ring. He's doing his own thing. He's not just Brian Pillman Jr. anymore.
Right.
But apparently, from what people say, he looks and acts more like his father as far as in the ring now than when he was in AEW going as Brian Pillman Jr.
I appreciate what he's trying to do and create. Let's get
the hashtag going.
Let's get that going. The NXT Tuesday crew. See, I think we're the only ones actually with the whole Unpopular Review stuff where we have like a cool name. I can't speak for everybody else, but I mean, we're honestly the coolest. I'm just not even gonna lie to you guys. But yeah, with him, then ring stuff gotten a lot better because when he was in AEW, maybe he just didn't have a chance to showcase it, right? But the finisher just doesn't do it for me. And I felt that for a while. I just said, oh, maybe this is a placeholder and stuff like that. But the
name of the finisher is good. It's just it needs.
What's the name? What is it? I think I missed
the
it.
Coronation.
That is actually pretty badass. That is very badass.
I was actually looking up the thing for ROH earlier because I was rewatching the Women's Rumble from 2019. And Deonna Purrazzo held that belt for 115 days, being the shortest reign.
For the Ring of Honor Women's Champion?
Yes.
Wow.
Longest is still Athena at 400 plus days.
Athena has been killing it. I don't watch ROH, but she's been killing it.
I'm just going to say this. AEW missed out with Athena when she was Ember Moon. And now she's showing the world what they missed out on her.
Are you talking about with WWE when they let her go?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. That was honestly a shame. I don't get that. Wow. I feel like by the end of the George, I gotta ask you something here, George. Let me ask you something. Let me talk to you. When you have our points, both me and Wrestling Doll, how often did Wrestling Doll beat me? Because I feel like you get the most points. I get some points. Like he'll give me enough where I can keep up. How many times when you rack up all the points, how many times has she beat me, George? I just need to know that right now. Tell the truth, George.
The points.
No, he does. Watch. I bet he said sit here and said you've beat me at least 22 times, and I probably won a measly one. With one of the other one being a draw. I don't even understand how you even have a draw in a points thing. Let me know what's going on, George.
Besides the point.
But we appreciate you in the comments, George. I always like to mess with you. So cheers to you, sir. Mello, he's not with Trick fighting for Dragunov. I mean, Trick is like, no, Dragunov is legit. He wouldn't mislead me. And Mello's like, nah, you're new to the game. He's playing you like how he's been playing many people. I kind of, I feel like with the storyline, right? Let me see if I can word this all right. It was immediately like, oh, Mello, he's the one. And it's Mello, right? It's Mello.
I mean, it's
but I like the layers.
And then they're going to expect everybody to be shocked. But with the way it's written, everybody's going to be about as shocked as when Roman Reigns keeps winning over and over and over and over again with the same formula for every match that he has. That's not surprising anymore.
I was just going to simply say, I do
literally
like the
every match of his is like literally cut, copy, paste. Roman Reigns versus whoever. Cut, copy, paste, all match that he had. Boop. There we go. I
was just going to mention the last part here. I just like these little things that they're adding because now that they're adding like Dragunov have done this before. He did this with Baron Corbin. I do like the little extra layers and all these things where they're doing the best job to make it look like Dragunov might really have been the one. But but once again, it is Mello, so I like that. The Supernova session, Nova, I thought this was great. There was a segment before this where Vaughn, and I think these were Robert Stone's kids, but they're in a football field. They're training. You see I'll say it for you guys, the Von-tastic Von Wagner. You see him training. The Vaughns of the Vaughns. Yes, we gotta get some like NXT Tuesday Night Crew shirts going on because we have some cool lingo over here.
Our NXT Tuesday crew.
Yes.
I will write down a list of all our.
We gotta get our lingo going. We gotta do a point thing. Maybe we can have something. We'll put George and he'll have our names like Jack and Doll, and then like I'll probably have 1 point and he'll give you like 5 points just to make it clear because he just put in the chat you have beat me 4 to 5 times. So it's clear that George is a very biased booker. He's a very biased booker. George.
You were mentioning how the Supernova sessions were happening, which we also did have Von Wagner training in a college football stadium with Robert Stone and his children. I
love that though. I really did like that. I thought that was
very
such
wholesome.
Yes. So I did
most
enjoy.
Wholesome we've seen Robert Stone be in ever, because before he was very superficial.
But the storylines changed everybody. Vaughn, he used to be this monster and stuff. Now he's soft at heart. And he's going to Robert Stone's family house
It's like
eating.
Beauty and the Beast, where we learn more of the story of the Beast. It's like a prequel movie of him, if you will, which I wouldn't be surprised if Disney made it at some point. And if I predict the future, they put that in a couple of years, then somebody
no.
go back to this video.
No.
What? I would be interested to see a prequel movie about that.
No, they're making a Lion King movie that's supposed to be before Lion King called Mufasa. I don't want to see anything about Mufasa. Only thing I want to see is Scar throwing them off the cliff.
Hey, that scene is very hard hitting for people, no matter how old you are. And if you laugh instead of cry at that, then you have no soul.
Did you just compare me to the executive consultant? How rude.
No.
That is cold. Damn, I need to check myself. But the Supernova session.
I would never compare you to EC.
Oh no, me either. That's terrible. But this session is going on, but he makes fun of Robert Stone's kids. He said, yeah, he said some over the lines that they share eating crayons. I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was a really funny thing. I said, that's some dirtbag thing to say. But this is the segment where you have Lola Vice comes out. Early in the night, too, I think it's important to throw us out here. Elektra Lopez was looking for her.
And Ariana Grande was having an inner monologue with herself. And Elektra's like, where's Lola? And she's too focused on herself to help. And she just runs off and looks for her. Oh, God, this segment was my favorite of the night.
No, this was great. Lola sits in and says, her and Elektra friendship has an expiration date. She knew that she was just trying to rejuvenate her career.
Popularity.
Yes.
Make herself relevant again.
Yes.
And then she got this contract all on her own. Nobody believes that, sweetie. Elektra's been helping you since day uno.
That's 5.
No.
Oh.
Since day one-ish.
Well, I was close. It was in the 1 digit, so I was very proud of myself. But Elektra comes out after that. And I saw on the internet, a lot of people were saying Elektra had a lot of fire in this segment. She calls her a fake MMA fighter. You're only here because you shake your ass.
That she pretends to be all sweet and innocent, acting like a wolf in sheep's clothing, basically.
Yeah.
And that she basically calls her out for the same thing that Lyra called her out on before, which is shaking her ass on Instagram. Saying that she was a shadow fighter, shadow boxer, doing it in a bikini
or something like that. Yeah.
And then then Lola looks like she's got a nerve struck from everything that Elektra says. Elektra says that the realest thing in her life is you and me going one-on-one next week. And Lola's like, you know what you're getting yourself into. And then Elektra's like, you're right. I don't want to wait till next week. I want to get you now. And she spears her. She falls down from the couch and they start fighting. And then rats come in to try to break it up. Yeah.
This was a whole Jerry kind of feel. That was on some Jerry. I'm surprised no one in the crowd was like, Jerry, or I guess you could do Nova, like you could do that.
Or Maury.
They do, right? Is that still on?
Yes.
That is wild. Okay. We have to talk about this one, guys. We have Scripps against Dragon Lee.
Got my tongue for you so you didn't have to say it, but your eyes were closed so you didn't see me do it.
Oh, you did it too?
Yes. I did it for you. That doesn't mean that's how I feel about him, but I did it for you.
I'm going to watch the replay now just to make sure I saw that. That was outstanding. Let me ask you something, though, Wrestling Dog. Dragon Lee, is he not a main roster guy? Why is he here? I know I keep asking this. Why is he here? He wants his North American Championship back after he got tossed. Now he wants to get tossed again by Obafemi? See?
Because
he got me so mad that I messed up this great man's name. That's all your fault, Dragon.
I was going to say because he's also putting Obafemi even more over than he already is with the NXT universe, even as he is only 22.
Oh.
Believe me, I didn't know that he was 22 either. He looks a little bit older, but not in a bad way.
Well, they've been seen. I've been seeing in the online it's either 22 or 25. Either way, he's still young, where you can build around him for the next 10 years, 15 years. Young lad, strong too. I feel like he gets stronger every day. I feel like every time he goes into the sun, he just like gets stronger. Like I feel like he can lift up 2 boulders in a hotel.
He's 22.
He's so strong. He's 22?
Yes.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Understood. You know, he said yes. All right. My bad, doll. You got it. You're the one with the facts. There we go.
I just have to clarify because sometimes they'll say different ages and stuff and that's going to confuse a lot of people.
I'm always confused. But George in the chat, he said, come on, man. Bad guy, Dragon Lee. But everyone knows how I feel. But this match was really, honestly, what it was supposed to be. I don't even think this is a match where I'm going to sit here and say, oh, man, this was so cool and everything. Dragon Lee was going to get this win over Scripps. Dragon Lee is the one going for the North American Championship, and he cannot lose before that match. He cannot lose. That would be silly. So him going over, and then also to the tie in the storyline with Out the Mud and the family. Matter of fact, Rizzo, she does this suicide dive. I thought it looked pretty crisp. Because she was in the Women's Battle Royal. I just didn't see a lot of her. I'm interested in seeing
focusing too much on her. They were focusing on Kiana James and Blair Davenport and Wren Sinclair.
There's names before that. That's fine. That's fine. But I'm just saying, when I saw her, I was immediately like, I'm interested in seeing what she can do. You also have
Jada Parker.
Thank you. Jada Parker out there. So she's out there. They're gonna have a match at Vengeance Day. It's gonna be a 6-person tag. So we'll get to see more of both these females to see what they can do. But yeah, Scripps take the L. Dragon Lee wins. After that, you see Oba. He's standing on his his throne. I love that little area that they have in the NXT. I've been there only once, but I love that little area that they have just right there. And he stands there and he said, I thought about us having this rematch. Because at first he said, nah, I ain't doing that. But he thought about it and he was like,
it's on my terms, not yours. But he says, I will see you at Vengeance Day.
So we're gonna get that match at Vengeance Day. Dragon Lee against Obafemi. We also have a segment here. I wanted to talk about these two. These are like 2 of my faves in NXT. Malik Blade and Idris. They both lost.
Yeah, they discussed about their loss last week. And Bruce comes in and tries to cheer them up and such, and that there's a lesson defeat, and that she wrote in her journal, reflected, and worked out a lot. Idris is glad that she's happy, but that they can't catch a break and they don't need to journal or reflect or anything. And she's not going to take no for an answer and tells him, write 5 things that you liked and 5 things that you didn't like about the match. And then she walks away and Malik's like, well, we might as well give it a try, right?
You know what I like about this? Because it's looked like there's a potential where they could get some kind of mini push. You might see them a little bit more on TV. And I would like to see them more on TV. I've been a fan of their stuff when they were the underdogs in the Dusty Classic. I forget if it was last year or the year before that. And that's when I was a fan. They were the underdogs. You knew they wasn't going to win, but you just wanted the best for them, man. And that's how I felt. So I'm interested in seeing where this goes. These journals, these matter of fact, they used to have
a journal from time to time. It's very helpful.
I used to do that when I was younger. I haven't done it since I got older. But yeah, you put your thoughts down. You put how you feel. It might be a really good thing. So if that helps anyone, you should totally do it. 100%. Let's talk about this segment, and then we'll do a commercial break. Blair Davenport against Karmen Petrovic. I was close. I was so close. I was so close. You see how close my hands are? That's how close I was. Matter of fact, George, make sure that I have 10 points. Give Wrestling Doll at least 9. Because I got to make sure, because he already made it clear on how he books. But this match was what it's supposed to be. Blair Davenport gets the win over Karmen. Karmen looked pretty solid in here. I feel like she was thinking about her movement in the ring, where Blair's pretty crisp in the ring. And I wanted to say this because I thought about this earlier in the day. So for me, I said for one of my predictions for we had predictions, some of the predictions that we have for wrestling, right? And I said Cora Jade would be the NXT women's champion, but she's out now. She's hurt, and she's probably gonna miss the year, probably, right? But I looked, I said Blair Davenport would be a great heel champion, and I see her being someone to dethrone Lyra Valkyria. I just think she would be a fantastic heel. I think she can have a good, like, 4 to 5 months run with it. And I also too, to add to the Blair Davenport conversation, I do appreciate how she's been booked. You know, she when she loses, it's like the person really had to work their ass off to beat her, but she's a tough cookie, and I just think she would be a great heel champion. So I just wanted to say all of that because I find her amazing, and I just think that I think I could see her being the champion. Why don't you take the floor, and then we'll get into some of these comments real quick.
I enjoyed. I liked the match. It did what it needed to do. Blair needs to look dominant since the person that people thought was going to be the one to defend Lyra for the NXT Women's Championship has been injured from a house show. So now they got to make Blair look even stronger. And yes, they make the booking where it's not like, oh, you beat her in 5 seconds, bada bing, bada boom, 1, 2, 3, you're done. No, people have to actually work their ass off. So I like that in the booking too. It's not like, oh, she's a heel. Let's have her lose all the damn time.
Right. Let's get to George real quick. George says in the chat, Malik and Ildris are going to be a solid tag team. They are a solid tag team. They are.
They've been working together for the last since
2 years. I'm going to say
in like 2021.
They have the chemistry as a tag team. They do. The in-ring work is pretty. The in-ring work is solid, and also too, I just feel like they have a lot of character. I go back to there was an Instagram thing, and I know it's not TV, it's Instagram. But I saw like an Instagram show that they had or something like that, and I just thought they were so freaking funny. And I said, these guys get it. But go ahead. You wanted to say some things, Dar. So close.
Well, I was saying that they have been working together for the last few years, that they have been a solid tag team since they debuted in 2021, even though separately, which I was there for both of them. But they've been working together since they got paired up randomly, and they went from being just a random makeshift tag team to actually being a formidable duo. Even though they kept losing consistently over and over and over again.
And with all that said, guys, we're going to play another commercial. We're going to finish it off with Trick Williams against Josh Briggs. And we're going to talk about this contract signing. So, guys, you're watching Unpopular Review. And we have a commercial. So, commercial.
Lose it, bite my tongue for no one. I put you on blast. So all the news channels, y'all can kiss my ass. Another YouTube or Google me, turn it up and play it. Cause many people think it, I just had the balls to...
Then we get this trash. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all want me to believe. I ain't talking about AEW. I'm talking about AEW's fan base. Okay? So I'm talking to you.
Just bring it, bitch!
I want to love AEW. I actually like AEW. Said I want to love, I actually like. But seriously, people, Samoa Joe made this bull look like dental floss, right? There was I'm going to see if I can, what do they say, reenactment, right? Here's a shout out to the executive consultant. Here is Samoa Joe. Here is Hook. What the? How are they supposed to? What is that? Samoa Joe made quick work of Hook. Quick work. Hook should not have been in this match. I'm sorry.
You know what I feel?
Mike Knox and his analogy comparing someone to a water bottle and Hook is like a pebble. I mean, it's not wrong.
You know what I think is wrong? How come we don't have a cool ass intro like that for our videos like that?
It's up to the person in charge of editing our videos.
Well, I'm HR. I think I could fire him. I think that's what HR means. Well, that means hour. I don't know. I'll figure it out during the way. Let's move on to Trick Williams against Josh Briggs. They confronted each other earlier in the night. Dragunov mentioned that he was going to be out there. He said he's going to keep an eye on this match. And this match ended with, so I missed it. So you mentioned, I'm glad that you was able to help out here, that Trick Williams get the win. I mean, it was with shenanigans, but I want to talk a little bit about Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs looked pretty damn good here. He started the match off with a lot of aggression. There was one spot in the match where he hits a big choke slam on Trick. Trick rolls out the ring, and you have Dragunov cheering on Trick, like, come on, you going for my title. If you really want this, you have to get up. You have to fight. Do so. This is the part where Dragunov cracked me up. He says, do something, which I feel like I've been told plenty of times in my life when I was in elementary school. So that's relatable. Trick, he gets back in the ring. He's able to get some offense on. Briggs takes advantage. Briggs does big man stuff. There's a spot in this match where Briggs does he does this a lot. It looks like a sidewalk slam or a backbreaker, but he picks you up and just drops you. After there was Briggs takes advantage of this and the picture-in-picture. After the picture-in-picture, he's a boss man like slam, which looked pretty good. I popped for it. I like the boss man slam move. It looks pretty cool. And he makes a comeback, but it's shut down. Eventually, when he's outside the ring, and then Dragunov again. But Dragunov is out there. He should not be out there, but he's out there, right? And he's sitting there saying, "Come on, Trick, get up, get up."
He just doesn't necessarily get in the middle of it.
Briggs big booted the hell out of this dude. He cleared him with that big boot. I mean, just bop. He said, "Here's my size 13."
Turn coming from Briggs.
But I feel like he's already turned heel. I feel like tonight was, even though it was like a slow burn, but he's heel. Especially when you go and you say,
Henley's one of the biggest baby faces. Josh Briggs is going to become one of the biggest heels, and Jensen has vanished into the background into catering, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know what they've done with him. I mean, there's been a few times where they've been a sighting of Jensen, and he would just be back in the background. So I don't know what they're trying to do there. And I feel like,
he's just the background.
I'm glad that you actually mentioned this, George. I feel like this is actually important. But real quick, let's get into some of these chats real quick. William Regal on NXT announced that Ava will be the youngest NXT GM. You forgot about that. You're absolutely right, and I'm glad that you mentioned
that she was the new GM. We just did not mention that William Regal, who is now back on with the WWE TV for the first time in 2 years, was the one to give her the newest GM title.
He's not going to tell which one of our hairs look good, but I'm pretty sure he means the both.
Your hair looks good. Mine is just, this is humidity.
No, your hair look fine. It's fine. It's great.
That'd look better.
But yeah, no, it's nice. It was nice to actually see William Regal on TV again. Like you mentioned, it's been.
The best part about it having back in WWE TV is we'll get to hear him say War Games for Survivor Series.
Yeah, because you know what? Shout out to Ava. I don't think she could pull off War Games like how William Regal.
Nobody can.
No, and
nobody can unless your name is William Regal.
My man, oh God, he always asks for a drink on Monday night. He's Monday night. Adam Pearce. He really tried, but it's not the same like William Regal, man. Like when William Regal does it.
Play a compilation video of William Regal saying War Games and use that instead.
They have that on YouTube. If you ever see those things, and it's so great.
Yeah, I know. That's where I watch it because it's funny.
It's so great, right? But Briggs take the L. Dragonly. I'm sorry. Dragunov wants to fight Briggs after being big boot. Trick is upset at Mello because Mello comes out there. Mello is like, hey, I'm trying to help you, dog. You keep thinking that this guy got your back, but he don't. And he plays these mind games and you're not paying attention. So these guys,
funny because that's what you're doing.
Yes, he is playing quite the war games. Oh my God.
Playing the war games. It's not even Survivor Series season yet. Not until November, December.
It's November. Good job.
We got 10 months. Well, Mello, you got time.
You got
Maybe
time.
Maybe we'll have time to give them a better theme song than just mashing theirs up in a horrible way.
We got George. He says William Regal War Games. Hiccups. Put my final segment comment back up when you're reviewing that part, please. Huh?
I know exactly which one he's talking about.
Which one?
The one about the contract signing.
Oh, did we miss that? I missed that comment.
Well, I've seen it, but he just wants us to put it up when we're talking about it. So
Will do. I'm pretty sure that Winry is going to teach her how to do it. You can do it, but
you can teach somebody, but it's not going to sound the same. It sounds even better because of his accent.
It do. He has a way. Oh, okay. I see what he's saying. Yep. I guess then we could just talk about this contract signing. But before the contract signing,
we had a segment involving Chase U. Backstage.
You know how I feel about this, right? But go ahead. I want you to tell the story, Wrestling Doll. Go ahead. Story time with Wrestling Doll.
So once upon a time, in the backstage area of the NXT Performance Center, we had Thea Hale bummed out about the possible end of Chase U as she knows it. But our beloved unexpected anti-hero out of nowhere in JC Jane comes out to reassure her that she is working on saving Chase U. And they are confronted by the Gaston-like figure that is Lexis King to hit on Thea Hale. But the beloved hero in Riley Osborne appears from out of nowhere to stop him from hitting on her, basically saying, you got to dump, because Lexis King was quoting some Vanilla Ice shit, being like, you need to dump this zero and get with the hero, like trying to be like Hercules over here, like, boy, no, you ain't no their type. Not by a long shot.
I appreciate that reference.
So the handsome Riley Osborne tells our beloved muscular princess Thea Hale that he would like to speak to her later alone. And once he leaves after she agrees, she is very excited and flips out. But her best friend, JC Jane, tells you have to play it cool because you are a grown adult woman. And to be ready for whatever Riley has to say to you.
Shout out to JC Jane. Good friend. She's a fantastic friend. She's helping her friend. Unlike the gambling sensation that is Andre Chase. Andre Chase, let's talk about this Chase U segment. I honestly felt bad for these guys. They took everything from Andre Chase. But that's not what I feel bad about. You know what I feel bad about, Wrestling Doll? I'll tell you what I feel about, what I feel sorry about. I feel sorry for one Duke Hudson. His trophy was taken away from him. An injustice to Duke Hudson. Because of Andre Chase's terrible choices in life, like those people who decided to watch Bring It On, the sequel, which is terrible, awful, be better. That's what happened. Andre Chase is Bring It On, the sequel, which no one wants to be. And because of his terrible choices, Duke is paying for this. Why is Duke paying for this? All he wanted to do was be a good student, an Australian student. I don't have no sympathy for Andre Chase. Andre Chase, I wish they actually took the doorknob so they could just leave him there. That's what I would have wanted. I'm done ranting, Wrestling Doll, because right now, you know what I feel? Guess what's went through the roof? That's right, everybody. My blood pressure.
I was actually gonna try to bring it back to the thing with Carmelo and Trick Williams because I mentioned that hopefully they had a better mashup of their themes because of what happened last time. You know how Booker T got all annoyed, like that they were interrupting his vibe? Does anybody remember from The Emperor's New Groove, the Disney movie, where Cusco's upset because one of the castle members that works there is like, you threw off my groove, and then he throws him out the window? That's what that reminded me of. I forgot the first one thing was like, now I remember what I wanted to talk about.
You are so gonna hate me because I've never saw Emperor's Groove, but the way you explained it sounds like I need to watch this movie.
So you never watched the movie about the conceited, all about me Emperor getting his,
and then he turns into a llama or something like that. Yeah.
He gets turned into a llama. A llama? He's supposed to be dead. That's the one of the lines in the movie.
I remember that woman. She looked like a skull or something like that. She wanted to get the Emperor.
Voiced by the great Eartha Kitt.
Ooh. What was the guy's name? That was like her minion, but then he turned on her.
Kronk. Pull the lever, Kronk. Run, lever. nominated for funniest host at the end of the year, it is not my fault.
Oh, you're trying to steal my thunder. Oh, my blood pressure's just increased.
No, I'm just saying.
Laughing. This is not funny.
We're both funny people, so we could both get nominated.
This is true. This is great because we could keep.
Means the
It's
NXT
on Tuesdays.
brand of UPR would have a higher chance of winning if both of us were nominated. That's
Absolutely.
how you have to look at it.
And I agree because I feel like when it comes to these award shows, they have a bunch of old people doing the votes and it'd be the same people. We need to switch it up a little bit. Russell and Dar, you do have some humor in you. I enjoy it. You bring such good. I chuckle a lot when we're on the show, so I agree. You should be in funniest host. I think I should retire from it after winning 6 times in a row. So I think it's time that I've retired being in it. But you bringing it on Tuesday nights, I'm for it. Not the exact because there's actually a consultant is not funny. His fashion is funny, but is anyone laughing at his jokes in 2024? I don't think so. But let's move on because I can see I just got an email that don't show up to work next week on Tuesday. Oh, I don't know what that means, but I'm going to show up anyway.
The executive consultant.
It says CE. I don't know why they put it reversed. But let's talk about this segment. This is the final segment of the night, guys. Real quick, before we break it down, you're watching Unpopular Review. We discuss wrestling, but not only just wrestling. We have an entertainment side. We talk about many things. We're going to do some plugs at the end, but I just wanted to make that important and clear that when you like and you subscribe and you hit that notification, it helps us, but it also helps you guys. So when we go live, you can join us for the conversation. If it's wrestling, and you want to talk NXT with us on Tuesdays, we're here. AEW on Wednesday for Dynamite, we're here. You want to, like I said, we want to bring in that TNA show eventually. We're hoping to bring that eventually. So let's do that. And also a Raw and SmackDown. So if you guys want to talk about stuff on the main roster, and this is a big week for WWE because like George was mentioning in the chat, and WWE is going to go on Netflix next year. The Rock is one of the shareholders, I think, for TKO. Outstanding.
On the board of directors of TKO.
Oh my God. I feel like The Rock is everywhere.
And The Rock has been patent pended, so now it's his.
And look at that. That's big news. Big news. And I feel like there's something else that we did not talk about, but there's so many things here on Unpopular Review. So, subscribe to us.
Wrestling has a lot of things happening, whether it's good or bad.
And we're here to talk about it.
Well, this one, it's a little bit sad, but I'm only mentioning it because there was a picture that was shown of something in NXT.
Sure.
So a couple days ago, an indie wrestler / manager character by the name of Francisco Ciazzo. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the last name right. I've never seen him wrestle in person, but I'd seen like 1 or 2 videos. And he was a very big part of the community in the Florida indie wrestling scene. And unfortunately, he did pass. So they're holding a special memorial service next week. And somebody actually did put up a picture of the hammer with tape that has his name on it from the year he was born to this year. Kind of basically almost doing like a 10 salute thing in the picture without actually doing it in his memory.
I saw that picture that you mentioned. I saw it on because I follow JC Jane on Instagram, and I saw it in her story. I wasn't familiar of the gentleman, but we do send our condolences to him and to his family and friends.
To his family, everybody that's in the Florida wrestling scene, whether they're in NXT now or they're still wrestling in many independent companies that were impacted by all his teachings and such and everything that he did for them. Okay. I didn't say anything about it online because I never met the man. I never knew him personally, so I didn't feel like I couldn't say anything about it. But I do express my condolences to everybody who has been impacted by it.
Absolutely. With that said, George put in the chat, I heard about that. Thoughts and prayers. He also wanted to say, don't be surprised if Naomi show up at the Royal Rumble. I could see her returning at the Royal Rumble.
Listen, I was thinking that when we were watching 2019 Royal Rumble, if we get either her old or new theme song, I'm going to.
I like the second version of her theme.
Scream very loudly.
Yes. And George also
I just want to say thank you, Triple H, for putting out the pictures for the men and women's Royal Rumble and not putting everybody that's going to be in it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. But it looked like for the women's, real quick to talk about it, it looked like there's going to be a lot of surprises for that women's
My
Royal
only thing
Rumble.
is I'm wondering how many NXT entrants we're going to get this year for it.
That's a rough one because a lot of times I feel like they keep it between 3 and 4, but I'm going to say 3.
Because
gonna
we
take a
did have Zoe, Indy,
Eddie and Roxanne.
Roxanne last year.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be 3, maybe 4, depending on because it's surprises. Because then you got to include the legends. So I could see Alita coming back, maybe Trish. It was nice that one year they had Victoria because there was a period of time where they wasn't even mentioning her for. And I don't understand why. But
Should be a Hall of Famer by now.
I agree. No, she was great. She was fantastic. The stuff that she did in that mid 2000 period. I mean, just I know the word iconic gets tossed around a lot, but it was iconic if you ask me.
Both her WWE run and her TNA run.
Oh yeah,
It's funny. I remember where I first saw Victoria.
Ooh, where?
It was on Family Feud.
That was the TNA show, right? Like they had the TNA
versus Knockouts episodes. Yes,
I remember. Okay. All right. Now, Victoria, you gotta check some of her matches. She had some really good stuff.
I have seen a few things, so I am familiar with some of her stuff.
George is mentioning, and we'll get into the segment, but I did want to touch on what he was saying. He said they're talking about AJ Lee returning to the Royal Rumble. I would pop big time.
Everybody would pop. The room is going to pop more than when Ronda Rousey came back during 2022, but then we realized over time, why the hell did we pop for Ronda Rousey? But we won't do that when AJ comes back, if she does.
It would be nice. I mean, you got her husband in the company, so I can see why there's that door, but I don't know if she wants...
the video that got shared on Instagram of her doing her training for the Star original series Heels, because she was on that show.
Right. Did you ever watch that show? I've never watched it.
I hadn't finished the first season, but I really want to finish it.
All right. I got to check it out. I got to see if it's on any streaming sites, and I'll check it out.
As far as I know, it's just on Stars.
Oh, it's just on... Oh, God. Okay, so let's get into this final segment. We had Roxanne and Lyra Valkyria, but just before that, Lyra, Tatum runs into her, and... Oh, okay. Tatum says... she runs into her, talks about the match from last week. Lyra's like, hey, that was a one-time thing. This can't be a continuous thing. And said, hey, why? Just want to separate from her. To which Tatum is like, okay, I understand. I totally understand. You knew she didn't understand.
Christian Mickey all over again. That's what I'm going to say.
I like this promo between Roxanne and Lyra because first it starts off with Roxanne saying, she respects Lyra and appreciate her rise to be the women's champion, and also mentions that this match would be a match. This would be a match on Stand and Deliver. Roxanne is also mentioned that when Roxanne won the championship, that was the night that Lyra debuted. Roxanne mentions that she's finally getting a rematch. There's no fatal 4-way, nothing. She gets a one-on-one shot because she never lost the championship. But then she starts showing some but can you handle when this crowd turns on you and they start booing you? So Roxanne was showing some fire here, and I like that because she's such a clean baby face. She's such a sweetheart of a person that now she's
unless you get her ticked off, just ask Cora Jade and Blair Davenport.
And she's just showing a little bit more aggression here. To which Lyra mentions that I appreciate your growth and all that stuff, but you've been replaced. I'm the champion now. I mentioned again about the fickle fans, but as this goes on though, and Ava was out there. I think that's important to throw out there too. I apologize for not adding that piece in, but Ava is out there trying to keep the peace because she realizes again intention. She said, "Hey, why don't we just sign the contract and we'll save this for Vengeance Day," which they do. They shake hands, but after this, out of nowhere, Tatum shows up and just power bombs Roxanne through the table. And Lyra is just like, what are you doing? I didn't ask you to do any of that. What are you doing? And Roxanne don't want to have anything to do with any of this because she's saying, this shit's crazy. So that was the segment. But what was your thoughts about this, Wrestling Doll?
That again, it feels like I'm watching Trish and Nikki 20-some years into the future with the addition of Well, Trish had Ashley, but Ashley wasn't a crazy one. Instead, Tatum is the crazy version of Ashley, like kind of like the movie Obsessed with Beyonce. For anybody that actually remembers that movie,
I do. I remember that movie. Good job.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that. So I don't know exactly what they're gonna do with Tim, if they're trying to make her to be a crazy psycho tweener or a psycho crazy face, or if they're trying to just turn her into a mix of Mickey James and Nikki Cross or something. I don't know what they're trying to do.
I think they're gonna add their own little spin to it, but I do see the comparison on why you would say that, because it's the obsessed chick or obsessed female,
obsessed fan turned wrestler.
Yeah, I see that, but I feel like they're trying to add their own little twist to the best of it. Because the thing with wrestling, and sometimes I have to remind myself of this, is that a lot of these stories have already been told, but then they're trying to retell it in a way that it's like, oh, I see, I can compare it to this storyline, but it's different. So but I do hear what you're saying. I do want to highlight real quick, because we have Roddy in the chat. We have Roddy Strongless in the chat, and he wanted us to know that I'm letting everybody know that I'm declaring myself for the Royal Rumble, so all of you guys will see me competing there. And I wanted to highlight that one so badly, because you know what, Roddy Strongless. Can I make this announcement here, Wrestling Doll? I know you have no idea what I'm going to talk about. That's right.
I mean, we did have this one ask this question, so if it has anything to do with your announcement, I just figured I'd put it up just in case.
It does, because Roderick Strongless, if you're in the Royal Rumble, so am I. I want you to know I'm entry number 31. So when I win this 30-man battle royal and I finish my story, because that's right, I know what you guys are thinking. No, I'm not facing Roman Reigns. I'm not facing Seth Rollins. I'm looking at you, Rey Mysterio. We're going to have the greatest Cruiserweight Championship match of all time. Night one, me and you, Wrestling Doll. I'm asking you to be my manager. George, I want you to be the ref, because then I can see where you lie in the Jack Pack community. Because if you turn on me, I'm going to take away your points. But I want everyone to know that I am going to be in there. The greatest cruiserweight match of all time. Hoovy. No, I'm doing it for Hoovy. Hoovy don't have to be the ref. I'm doing it for Hoovy. He's going to be in the audience. That's what I'm talking about. So when I win this Royal Rumble, and I want everyone to listen, because when I come out, you know what's my theme? It's going to be called It's going to be Britney Spears Stronger, because I am stronger than yesterday. And I'm going to toss out Hogan's old ass too if he's in the fucking match. Or all that dusty tan. I get scared.
I mean, don't lie. I won't lie. I do like that song, but I don't think I would pick that.
I love the song. You're talking about Real American, right? Which song?
Well, I wouldn't pick that one, but I have thought about what song I would choose if I were to.
What would be your song?
Well, it's from a band called Set It Off, who actually did have a song for Backlash a couple years ago called Dangerous. But the one that they have is from one of their albums called Duality. Ooh. The song's called Duality. Ooh. Which in the lyrics it says, I can't contain or explain my evil ways. All I can say is this is your final warning.
I feel threatened hearing it.
That's the point. You're supposed to feel threatened. Like I'm gonna kick your ass, even though I physically can't kick anybody's ass because I'm not physically trained for this.
That was fantastic. I love it. Will Tatum be the reason why Lyra loses? I don't see her losing the championship. I was mentioning earlier, I could see Blair Davenport taking that championship off of Lyra Valkyria. Jeffrey, I know you just getting back into the chat. Oh, just entering the chat. I'm sorry. But I was mentioning, I expected Cora to do it, but she's out. But I could see Blair doing it because I just think as a heel, she's believable. I think she could be a great heel champion, and she's believable. Let's get real quick into the chat. We got Roderick Strongless in the chat. What he says: if there's one person who I want to fight, it's Hulk Hogan. So please bring that man back to the Royal Rumble, including Goldberg.
Okay.
No, I don't think Goldberg.
Why would you want one of the head members of the Bald Syndicate and a racist bastard to come back in?
Spicy Wrestling Doll is on deck. We got Jeffrey laughing. That's what we try to bring. Oh my goodness, Juventud, bad guy. I'm sorry, I'm giving. Oh my God! Look at the amount of points.
Why would you give him that many negative points for that?
George, right after I win that Cruiserweight Championship, I want you to understand, I'm not defending my championship because I don't do that. It's a lot of paperwork. But me and you one-on-one, because we're going to do this. We're going to have a sweater on a pole match, bro. And when I win and I take your sweater and I spray JPC on it, you'll know why. We got Jeffrey. My song would be PSC featuring T.I. Do Your Thing. I can see that going. I can see you coming out with something with drums, actually. You should see this guy's drumming stuff. He's a fantastic drummer. Really. Rey Mysterio is the greatest luchador of all time. Someone's been drinking. What do we have here? George out of date. Thank you. You know what, Jeffrey, you're my you're definitely my Jimmy Uso. You're my Jimmy. That means you're gonna take a lot of pins. I'm sorry. And then George says, I'm gonna win because I have someone in my corner. Who? I have the wrestling doll in my corner. I have Jeffrey in my corner. And if I wanted to, I can have Morgan Freeman in my corner. But that's not either here or there.
Guerrero in your corner.
And Juventud Guerrera, the greatest cruiserweight champion of all time. I don't want to yell because I'm tired of being grounded by my mother. So we're gonna end this. And then Roderick said, "I would be solo." You are far from solo. You would be Sami Zayn in our group. I think you would be the Sami Zayn. I will give you that, Roderick. You would be the Sami Zayn. Jeffrey wanted to make sure he said he loves your hair down. So you have lovely hair.
This is humid hair.
And then Wrestling Doll is in my corner, and Rey Mysterio as well. You can't take Wrestling Doll. She's part of NXT. Please stop it.
The NXT crew here.
Yeah. You're about to get jumped. You're about to get jumped, George. You're about to get the betrayal DDT. That's my finisher. But that's the end of the Unpopular Review NXT review show. But we're going to plug some shows because Unpopular Review is not just the NXT show. We have a few things. Let me see if I got this lineup going. All right, boom. I believe we're having one this Saturday, but it's on Saturday around afternoon segment. Jesus Christ. Afternoon time. There's a Monday Night Raw and SmackDown review. They talk about the stuff that happened on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. And eventually we're going to have a split with that. I'm not sure when exactly, but we're going to have, well, it says watch along. Whoops. But it's supposed to be, we're supposed to have a Raw after show eventually. I'm not sure if it's this week or the week after, but you continue following us, you'll know. Are we having a show this Monday? No after show. This Monday, but we are going to be having a after Raw show, so check it out. You can also check the Mike Knox show. That's on Mondays at 6 p.m. It's for the intelligent wrestling fan. And you guys in the chat, I know how smart you are, except George, because he keeps thinking Rey Mysterio is the greatest cruiserweight champion of all time. You're wrong, but you could catch him at 6 p.m. It's a great time. He talks about everything: Raw, SmackDown, AEW, Collision, TNA, and he yells a lot. We have SmackDown. We're going to be having that every Saturday. SmackDown review. You could catch Z. This is great. I love this. Z has a logo. This man, I want one too. And then you just got Vic and graffiti. That is so great. Who did that in graffiti? What is that?
Probably Dice.
That's fantastic. And we're going to be having a TNA review show. I'm excited about this. TNA has been building a lot of buzz lately. I can sit here and say, Jeffrey, because I follow him on Twitter. I know you're a fan of TNA, and I'm hoping that we can get that going soon because some really, really good stuff. We won't have a Collision show this weekend because the Royal Rumble is happening this Saturday, guys. So who's watching Collision? No disrespect to them, but who's watching this? But usually on Saturdays, I only see two names. I thought there was more, but we have, sometimes you can have Shay Sawyer, Sheriff, Dan the Man, not Vic. We have V's in this group now, but Vinny or Evil Dose. You can catch that on Saturdays. And we are having a Royal Rumble prediction show this Thursday, correct? I'm waiting to get the word. This Thursday, we're having a Royal Rumble prediction show. I want to say around 7 p.m. Is it around 7, 8? He's putting fingers up. You know I can't count.
He's saying
You
8.
know it. What'd you say, Wrestling Dog?
At 8.
I thought there was like 12. And then there's a review show. And what's this? What do we have there? Oh, and then also the Dynamite show. You could catch that. I think we already talked about it. Let's get into the chat real quick before we call it a night. I want to make sure we got this. Oh, we got Z in the chat. Z is fantastic. I'm glad that you're still here, Z. I can hit you with a log. I did Mike's too. Oh, he's talking about the logo, so you can count on Z to always be there. We got Roderick Strongless. I'll be entering number 29 at the Royal Rumble with Shay at my corner. No, that's not true. You're such a liar. You're such a just stop lying. There's like so many things going on in the world, and here you are spreading lies. Grow up. We got Roderick laughing. We got George saying, just like The Rock says, just bring it. We're gonna have a match, me and George. Sweater on a pole match. George, don't bring the sweater. We got Roderick and maybe Katrina as well. I doubt Katrina will be in your corner. Jack, did you see the news? Monday Night Raw is moving to Netflix at 2025. Yes, I did. That's crazy, Walter, but not surprised consider if you have Netflix. Got Jeffrey saying TNA. I'm calling it. Caden Carter and Katana Chance are going to retain this Friday because the Unholy Alliance will get involved. Aren't they facing the Kabuki Warriors?
Yes.
I don't know why I can see them taking the titles off them, honestly.
Listen, as much as I love Kaden and Katana, I need my Kabuki Warriors to be champion.
I can see them taking the titles off them. I think
Katana, champion. We need the Kabuki Warriors as champion. Dakota Kai is being manager since she's slowly but surely getting back in the ring after being injured. And even with the possibility of Bayley winning the Royal Rumble, they'll probably be like, "Oh, you only won the Rumble, but you don't have a belt or anything." So
they're gonna kick out. They've been slowly putting the seeds in onto her being kicked out. And matter of fact, and this is why a lot of people are saying,
build a storyline like this, and I'll make it boring with the women.
And that's why a lot of people are also seeing why Sasha returns, and because she's not going to be able to take out all of Damage Control by herself, who to help her than her friend Sasha Banks? So you got that. And we have someone from Unpopular Review. I called this story like 2 months ago. I didn't know Mike Knox was here. What else we got here? We have it's too soon for Kaden and Katana chance to drop the title.
Do you know how many people lose their titles within like weeks, days, hours, minutes? Mm-hmm. Some have lost it in under a minute and a half. Some people get cashed in a second after winning or winning the title from the person they beat or retaining the title. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Anything. What was that catchphrase you say? Anything can happen in the WWE. So yeah, anything could totally happen. But with that said, guys, Unpopular Review, I plug these things, but I'm going to plug them again. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Like, subscribe, follow us. We have a lot of great content.
The Patreon as well.
And the Patreon. Wrestling Dog, before we go, because we have solo projects and, it's part of the Unpopular Review family. You have a great YouTube channel and it's fantastic. Why don't you plug that so these people, I'm pretty sure they know, but do it anyway.
Yeah, so I have my YouTube channel, The Unofficial Camera Woman, where I go throughout pretty much Central and South Florida to record wrestling matches. I'm obviously going to be going to a few shows this weekend, but I'm not going to be recording at these shows because, well, they're on streaming services, and therefore I can't really do that. Otherwise, I get in trouble. But I'll probably take pictures and put them up on my social media like I always do, and probably take a few videos and such. But that's about it. No full recordings.
Outstanding. So please give that lovely channel a follow. Oh, I have a audio podcast. I don't think we're going to be having a show this weekend, but it's called the Big Pop Theory Podcast. We give our thoughts on the many different things that are going on in wrestling. There's a lot of new, and it would have been cool to do it this week because you got the Okada news and possibly being on NXT. And I do want to sit here and say real quick, if he does show up on NXT, it'll be cool because as a guy who reviews NXT, it'll be fun. But it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. So if you guys just want to hear some thoughts, it's literally we hit the record button and just people talking about wrestling and just having a good time, a jolly old time. You can listen to it. The Big Pop Theory podcast. So it's a fun time. And with that all said here, we are going to end the night. It is 11:40. You guys are crazy because you guys are with us, and we appreciate you always being there. So how do we do this thing? We have to play the music. So boom, I'm going to play the music. Waiting for it to play. Waiting for it to play. Does anybody hear it? No, right? It's on my end. Okay, because I just got the okay. So let me do my outro. Hey guys, it's Unpopular Review. We're running out of time. But with that all said, we'll see you guys next week for Unpopular Review, the NXT edition show. We'll catch you. Bye. Holy shit.